How about that?
Thank you for your service. Now I'll give you my backhand. My winner whizzes down the line. Betting weekly tennis live. Are you ready for it? Here we go.
Well, we are back again, Betting Weekly Tennis Live on the Bet Rivers Network. Mitch Michals, Dustin Fox, Monday edition. Always a lively time. A bit of an interesting one in the tennis calendar, but
Yeah.
the Toronto and Montreal editions, the ATP and WTA and the Masters 1000 level event north of the border. Dustin Fox joining me now. We don't really have live tennis to talk about, but we've got some great results to recap, some big matches and some outrights, but always a blast to talk tennis with you.
No, there's no doubt, man. It's good to be with you as well. We are approaching some tennis coming to our state. You still claim Ohio, I think, a little bit sometimes, right? So
Yeah.
we got some Cincy Open coming up next week. But first, we got to talk about this WTA and ATP event that's going on in Montreal and Toronto, because there's been some crazy good matches. We're into the quarterfinals here, and we got some really good matches to talk about, including. We got a couple of Americans into the quarterfinals as well, and on the men's side.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? It's the American men. The American women not so hot this tournament,
No.
but it's the men that have been picking it up. And yeah, there's been drama, there's been excitement. I'm telling everybody out there watching, this is kind of like a Thursday. You got to reprogram your brain because you have a Thursday final. So imagine this Monday is like a Thursday schedule of tennis where we're ramping up with quarterfinals. And I know the schedule's weird because they split cities and there's no daytime tennis, but 2 quarterfinals on each tour tonight and then 2 more tomorrow. So we are gearing up for a big ending. And yeah, and before we get to the matches coming up, some of the stuff I wanted to recap on the women's side. To me, Dustin, and there's a lot of drama and story. I know this didn't have Sabalenka, but the story for me is Victoria Mboko. She's the one that showed up, and she beats Coco Gauff, who obviously wasn't at her best, but the way she did it, how she's handling the moment, the pressure. A lot of the Canadian men got upset early because it's a pretty big deal playing at home, but she handled it, and this teenager is the real deal, Dustin. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when she's going to get to the top.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, she's, 18, 19 years old, and she's just had this remarkable run here, and obviously was a really, talented junior coming up, and now, top 100 player, knocks off Coco Gauff, one of her idols growing up as a junior. So a really incredible, and by the way, she didn't just knock off Coco Gauff, like she destroyed her. I mean, I watched that match with my daughter who loves Coco, and she's like, oh my God, like what's happening right now? I'm like, this is tennis. This is what happens. Coco, got off to a rough start. The double faults were an issue again. The last couple of matches, dude, she ever since winning Roland Garros, Coco has only played 5 matches. She's lost 3 of them.
Yeah, and even the one she's won, 23 doubles against Collins, and then a lot of doubles against Kudermetova, which by the way, she fights, and I've always appreciated that about her, is that she doesn't just pack it in when she doesn't ever bet stuff, but it's limiting. Quickly on Mboko, she's only 18 years old, 85 in the world going into this tournament. Live ranking has her at 55. She's a pretty solid favorite against Bouzas Maneiro. That'll break her into the top 50 at 18. So, yeah, the rise is coming there. We saw Iga lose to Clara Tauson. Tauson was someone who did play in the tennis in the lane last year in Cleveland, and she's gotten healthy this year, which has been good. She's got a couple of top 5 wins, has beaten Sabalenka and Iga, so that's another one to watch. It's been interesting, right? The opportunity there is there. Svitolina, an old veteran back here, and then, of course, Naomi Osaka, who looks as good as she's looked in a long time.
Yeah, this is the best run Osaka's had, God, how many years? 4 years, 5 years? I mean, it's incredible what she's done as of late. She looks like she's back to the old player she once was prior to having a child, and a lot that went on in her life. So it's really cool to see that for her. Iga goes down. You mentioned the Clara Tauson. We saw her in tennis in the land last year. And, I always wonder about, these tournaments that are right before big time majors or big time tournaments. Where's the mindset for a top player when you got Cincy on deck, and then you got the U.S. Open on deck?
Right.
Where are you at with that?
I just last week we were talking to Tim. I was talking to Tim Dennis on this show, and I brought up Clara Tauson. I'm like, is she wanting to watch because she had the run in the Middle East in February, has been pretty solid all year. There's been no dips, and we talked about it. She was kind of on a rise, and then got injured and had some health issues to deal with. And I asked him, like, do we have to watch out for her? And it's almost like she heard the show. She was watching Betting Weekly Tennis Live, and she's like, yep, you better watch out for me. So 6 feet tall, the way she hits it. I don't think that was a bad loss. I know Iga coming off of, as you said, winning Wimbledon, some time off, switching to the hard courts, but that was very impressive on Tauson's end. And I say that, we'll look at the outrights here and then kind of go into just some general thoughts on the men and then go to the matches. But the outrights right now, these are the final 8 women left in Montreal. It's Elena Rybakina at the top of the list, which I thought is interesting, plus 200. Svitolina and Keys, followed by Osaka and Mboko, Tauson, Kostyuk, Bouzas, Maneiro, Dustin. We know that matchups dictate a lot of this stuff. I didn't even mention Madison Keys, the fact that she saved 2 more match points in that brutal matchup against Muhova, who looks back, which we love to see. But that was the first thing I thought. I actually thought Keys might be the outright favorite going into today. I'm a little shocked that number's as high with Rybakina. But when I showed you that board, what stood out the most to you?
Put it up one more time so I can talk over it as I can take a peek at it, a little cheat sheet there. What stands out to me the most? I mean, honestly, if you've been watching Mboko play in this tournament, the fact that she's not up there near the top is a little surprising because there's no player in this group.
She's playing number 8, by the way. Like, that's the other thing. Like, her next matchup is Bouzas Maneiro, who is the lowest. So she has the quote unquote easiest. I know that's all paper and we don't know, but she has a favorable matchup to get to the semis.
Well, that's a good point by you to throw in there to add to my point. I just think that she right now, like at those odds at plus 550, that's worth a couple dollars to me. Dude, I watched that match. I know you did as well, like against Coco Gauff. The entire stadium was rooting for her. It's going to be that way the entire rest of the way that she remains, and I could see her win this thing. Why not?
Why not, indeed. I don't know. That's going to be so good. The storylines are fascinating because there's some really good players in there, some young and up and coming, some veterans. Who needs a title? Svitolina just handled Anisimova. That shocked me as well.
That was very shocking.
On the men's side, before we get to the matchups, Dustin, the Americans got to talk about them. It was a couple different routes to get here. We talked about this being the land of opportunity with a lot of the top players being out. There's way more volatility on the men's Masters side without the big 3 dominating with schedules, the center suspension, some injury time off, some rest for Alcaraz as well. But all that said, Dustin, Fritz gets here and he battles again. It's a brutal match against Yuri Lehechka, who was right there. I mean, that match was as razor thin as possible. 5-all in the third set tiebreaker comes down to a little mini break and Fritz gets there. So starting with him, you start to see why Taylor can just wear you down because he gives you nothing and just competes his bag off.
Well, he talks about this all the time. He doesn't get broken very often. So he keeps the pressure on by holding serve, and it just allows him to sort of win those pressure points. I mean, that's what happened in the breakers. I thought this was a crazy good match to watch. I tried to stay up for it as late as I could last night. I was like dozing in and out, and then I wake up and it's like, I don't know, 12:30 Eastern time, and I think they were still in the middle of that third set. It was an incredible match to watch last night. And I will say this, I love the late tennis, in Canada. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what we're going to see in a couple of weeks in New York City with those late matches, and those courts are packed obviously for some big time players.
Yeah, it's Fritz pacing the way. It's Shelton who's right on his heels in the rankings and maybe in this tournament with the big win over Kaboli. And I don't know where you stand. I don't think it was that testy. I think you can get heated in competition, the words at the net. There was a misunderstanding. I think they settled it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I know you played professional sports. You know how competitive it gets out there.
I do. And what's interesting is they're, I don't know if they're buddies, but I mean, they both rep on the brand.
Yeah, they're on buddies.
And so they've been in a million endorsement deals together and events and things like that. So they know each other. And there was just a moment during the tiebreak where there was a gesture made. I don't really even know what the heck happened. I know that Shelton takes offense rather easily to a lot of things during matches, and maybe it motivates him. I don't know. I think he's talked about that in the past, but like it seemed like Cabali was trying to like explain what happened, and Shelton didn't really want anything to do with it at the end. But at the end of the day, you know, he did say that they're cool. Who knows if they're cool? I'm sure that once you get off the court and you kind of calm down a little bit, just like in football which is the sport I played. You know, you get that little cooling off period after a big game or a match, like in tennis, and things sort of calm down a little bit. And look, who knows? I mean, we saw there was some other stuff this weekend too. There was another God, which match was it? I'm trying to think. Oh, the Runa and Popyrin Shan was really awkward.
Yeah, that was an awkward one. I do think that like Nadal was always big, and let's go to the locker room and discuss this, good or bad. You know, it's better. Everyone's cooled down. You can have reasonable. You don't have thousands of screaming fans too. So
right.
It was competitive though. So you got Shelton in there, and then you got Alex Michelsen, who's been the third one who stepped in.
I totally forgot about Michelsen. I'm like, oh, we got a couple of Americans. Got 3 Americans into the quarterfinals.
Tiafoe got beat by de Minaur, who I don't know if you saw that de Minaur point.
That one point was insane, bro.
Nobody moves like him, man. It's crazy. But Michelsen stepping up too. Michelsen beat Lerner Tien, and again another American that was in the mix and had a good run. But yeah, so looking at the ATP outright as we look at the big board, some interesting names. Zverev, the top seed, handling business, hasn't been the hardest road for him. Fritz followed by de Minaur, Shelton. Khachanov plays Michelsen. You've got Rublev and last year's champion, Alexei Popyrin. So this is actually, and we talked about this, Dustin. I'll let you talk over it here for a second.
Sure.
But this is a pretty solid final 8. Like we thought this could be, more variety, volatility, but the odds reflect that. Like no real outside shockers in this one. These are all very good players.
No, really good players you've seen in semis before and in finals. And, what's interesting is Alexei Popyrin, who you mentioned has won this thing, being plus 2,000. This guy is kind of an enigma to me. I really am fascinated by his game because, like, he's under 500 this year for matches. It's like he's having a great year.
It's Mr. Canada, I guess. Yeah.
But maybe it's Mr. Canada. I don't know. But for him to be plus 2,000, that's very fascinating. Now, listen, he's got to play Zverev here today, which is going to be an interesting matchup. Zverev got really lucky with Sarandolo, who seems to be his bugaboo. He was never beaten him until this time, which is a retirement match because of an abdominal strain by Sarandolo. So he gets a short match, and then Popyrin, who plays a 3-set match against Holger Rune, comes into this quarterfinals, probably playing with a lot of confidence. And Zverev, is he sitting there thinking, like, man, I got really lucky. Like, I dodged Sarandolo again. It's kind of like a cheat win for him, so to speak. But
that could be freeing.
You take him any way you can get him, right?
Yeah, and his record this year has just been so bad when he's been the top seed. So maybe it's just any way I can get to a quarterfinal is a victory. So maybe he does kind of play a little free, and the path being there. I keep coming back to those top 2 Americans. I know there's a lot of good players. de Minaur, who won in DC, is playing well. Rublev, who was a finalist last year. But for me, it's Taylor Fritz, who has the one Masters title to his name, Indian Wells, that epic match against Rafa 3 years ago. And it's Ben Shelton, who doesn't have a Masters title. This is the opportunity, right? We talked all the time about, where your headspace is. If you can get this trophy, get this to your name, and really set a warning shot to the field. I think they're the 2 that I'm looking at. Like, this is your chance to get, in Fritz's case, equal the biggest title, or for Shelton to get the biggest title of his career.
Well, I mean, it's certainly is fascinating to watch these Americans play. I don't know, man. I think that Shelton has come along. And he's playing well right now. I think he's a completely different player than he was a year ago when he made the semis, right? In the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
And he's gotten better on clay. He's gotten better on grass. Like, he's really working. I like the dynamic with his father, who coaches him. But I don't think he's going to beat the Demon.
It is the tougher matchup. The Demon just wears you down.
Because here's the problem, dude. Like, Shelton just sometimes just does stupid things. And I don't mean like stupid, like he's not a smart guy. I mean, he just goes for winners. He goes for shots where he probably just needs to be a little bit more conservative. And Demon's going to frustrate the hell out of him because he gets to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the point's never over. And so that's where I think Shelton's going to have some tough struggles is when, there's going to be break points. And like, Demon's never going to end that point easily.
You take a Ben Shelton service set and you think, okay, like 3 serves, 3 holds are going to be easy. Like you're just no one in the world is breaking them. 2 might be a little tricky, and then there might be a game where there's an opening, and that's where guys like Demon, who are bona fide top 10 players, could stand out. Well, here on Betting Weekly Tennis Live, we talked about the matches today: 2 women's matches, 2 men's matches. I wanted to start with the women, and one of the interesting ones, the favorite on the board, Dustin, was Elena Rybakina. She's playing Marta Kostyuk in Montreal. Kostyuk's battled her way to get here, playing some physical matchups. There you see the money line, plus 250 for Kostyuk if you like her. That game spread number is up to 4.5, and you've got some set betting and other props as well you can get on the Bet Rivers app. So, Dustin, starting off with this one, Rybakina, who's had the tough loss to Leo Fernandez in DC, is starting to show signs that she's back to where she wants to be, which is near the top of the game, top 5, top 3, and beyond. But do you think the odds reflect where they should be? Do you see Rybakina as a sizable favorite in this one that should win comfortably?
I do, and part of it is just because of what she's done. Her resume sort of speaks for itself. I like her, the way that she's gotten here. I don't know. She when her serve is on and she's playing confident tennis, she's really tough to beat. You know what I mean? She really is. And you look on the other side of things with Kostyuk. It's like she's had some tough matchups here. I mean, she barely got past Kessler. She's played back to back 3 setters.
I know. I actually
at
think
some point you got to get tired.
I actually think this matchup is better for her in a weird way, because Kostyuk's thing is, I mean, she's got a lot of power. She's a very good athlete, but she makes mistakes by going, like we were saying about Shelton, going too big, trying to hit thin margins and making errors. I do think a player like Rybakina, as good as she is, might be a little better, because it's not a grinder that's just going to wear you down and force you into mistakes as much. But I'm with you. Like, if Rybakina is serving well and playing her, it's the old adage, right? If Rybakina is playing her game, her top game, she's winning. I think we agree on that. Kostyuk's shown me that, like, if you want to take her to win a set in this one, even with all the tennis she's played, I don't think that's a bad strategy, given the fact that she's fought a lot and she's proven that. But yeah, I don't think winning this matchup, given all the tennis and given what Rybakina's A levels look like, I think is going to be a bridge too far.
I agree with you.
I think there's better upsets. Yeah, I think there's better upsets on the board too, which we can get to. Maybe not this one though. The other women's match today, Mboko and Bouzas Marino. There you see it's that same plus 250 line. The game spread at -4.5 is -114. Over under down a game to 20.5. You see set betting. You see a lot of different props. Well, I guess the question is how, because how would you like to bet on Mboko in this one, Dustin?
What do we have for the money line again? What's the number?
So the money line there is -335 there. I think. I mean,
there's no value. There's no value on the money line.
If you want to talk me into straight sets, I could see it, the way she's been playing and the way this crowd is taking to her, because they know this is the fun part of the career, right? This is the part where, like, you're catching them on the rise, a superstar on the way up.
I mean, I love her in straight sets. Probably. I mean, if you think she's going to win the match, which I do, and I think you do as well, she's going to have the crowd. I mean, if she wins the first set, dude, the crowd's just going to continue. She's going to play clear-headed, like she's going to be focused. Now, if she loses the first set, she may lose the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, if she wins the first set, I think she'll win the second set, and it'll be a cruise, just like it was against Coco. I mean, Coco had opportunities in that second set. I think she had 2 or 3 break points when it was 3-all, I believe, and she just couldn't capitalize. And then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, it's over.
Yeah, I just Bouzas Maneiro. It was Ito and Zhu were her last 2 matchups, and they both won 3. I mean, no disrespect, but not maybe the toughest run to get to a quarterfinal at a Masters event. So I think Mboko's locked in. I think this crowd's going to be all out in support for her, and I think she's going to handle business. And maybe even the spread. That spread's pretty high, but she won a 6-1 set against Coco. So
4.5 is a lot.
It is a lot.
Especially if, let's say that Bouzas Maneiro wins a set. Then that 4.5 games ain't getting covered.
We saw an 8.5 last week in the Iga's first match. 8.5. She didn't cover it. 8.5.
Yeah.
It was 6-3, 6-1, and the over/under was like 15.5 too. So I mean, what are we?
I hate those.
15.5. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're seeing it in pro tennis. Men's matches today. How about Karen Khachanov versus Alex Michelsen? Plus 175 for Michelsen on the money line. Khachanov is now, I believe it's up to double-digit Masters quarterfinals. He has been very consistent getting to this point. He's just a street fighter personified as a tennis player. High line, high over-under. We see some set betting there. I don't know. Do you like the American? Do you like the American on the money line, Dustin? Maybe for
I do, and here's why. I just think that Alex Michelsen has, at this point, more skill than Karen Khachanov. But Karen Khachanov does have the experience. He's a veteran. He's got bigger wins. Like he just beat Casper Ruud, to get here, which is a pretty impressive win. And the dude, he's getting up there in age, but he just continues to find himself in like quarterfinals. He's just there, like all the time. It seems like. And by the way, I didn't know this, but I in prepping for the show today, it's like you learn a couple things. I didn't know they're friends. Like the odds that Michelsen, this young American, can be friendly with this older Russian tennis player. And they played doubles together in Holly, and that was fascinating on the grass. I mean, so they know each other very well. There was a fun moment on TC yesterday where Michelsen, I think, comes over when Khachanov was getting interviewed and kind of bumps in. So they're buddies. So this is going to be a match where I think Michelsen's going to play very relaxed. It's always easier to play against somebody you know and you're comfortable with, as opposed to somebody you don't.
They played in Australia, and it was straight sets win for the young American. So the only time they played head-to-head went to Michelsen. I was looking, too, because Michelsen's serve's been buzzing. Khachanov on the ATP website with their formula for return rating is 16th. So it's pretty solid. So you think maybe he can get into some games. But, yeah, I like the American.
Well,
I'd like a way to bet on him in this match.
The other thing, too, is you look at how Michelsen has got to this point. I mean, the last matchup, the win to get here was against Laurentine, who was his other buddy.
Yeah.
And so now he plays another buddy. Like, he's just in a comfort zone. He loves the hard court, and he plays so well. His serve is good. His first serve is really good. He's got a wicked forehand. He comes to the net. He adds in variety. Like, I just really think this player's got a ton of upside.
I do too. To win a set, if you want to get conservative, it's minus 162 on Bet Rivers right now. Maybe if you want a tie break too, if they play a physical set, that could be a prop too. I just think that I like where Michelsen's going. I think he's got a very good chance to win, and he very well might. So it's how you want to bet it. Do you want to be, conservative and just have him cover some things, or do you want to go all the way? And that's where it's your decision as a bettor. So we like to see that. Tomorrow, a lot of good matchups. We did mention Shelton and Minaur. I want to get to that one first because our guys in the chat, our great production team, had the stat. Minaur is 0-12 in his last 12 against the top 10. So there you go. He hasn't beaten him since Medvedev on clay. So he'd have to break a little history. That's one thing going against Minaur in that matchup. But as we look at the line of ATP matchups tomorrow, the two, we've got Minaur, Ben Shelton. There's the line as it sits with Shelton as a plus 135 underdog. And Taylor Fritz opens as a pretty big favorite, pretty solid favorite against Andrey Rublev, who was pretty fortunate to get by Fokina after Fokina loses the second set, was a little injured and retired in that matchup. So, all right, Dustin, at the board, at what we're seeing, how do you react in any plays you like?
I like Minaur on the money line or the over, because I think this could be a three-setter. I think Fritz is going to beat Rublev. I don't know. I think Rublev can get a set. I don't think he'll be consistent enough to win that match, which is why I would stay away from that spread, because you could actually win. Like, Fritz could win the match but still lose the spread.
I kind of like under, actually, in that. I was looking at that number, 24.5. I'm kind of thinking maybe under, like if it's Fritz in straight sets, or, I don't know. Rublev has been not the most inspiring. We saw him not great in Los Cabos, even as I mentioned the last match. And Fritz has this weird thing, right, where he'll play a physical match and then come out, and he's got the day off too, so it's not so much like 3 sets and then right back to it. Mm-hmm. So
I think he wins. I think that money line is good at what, 220. I would probably maybe parlay that with something else that you like and get it down to better odds, almost even money.
Well, if you wanted, when we were talking about the daily double, and I'm not going to fill out the legs for you, but if it's Minaur or Michelsen or some version of that, a Minaur money line is a good first leg for the daily double, I think, and then you pair it with something that you like.
Well, I mean, the one I like is Michelsen. on the money line.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to make this all me, I can do that.
so.
Or you can take half of it. I mean, it's because you like. I mean, do we want to go Demon and we go with Michelsen?
Unless you see anything on the women's side today that you
Okay.
were thinking about, which we looked at those two matchups, if there's anything there. But I do think that Michelsen's a good way because we got that match coming up and it could be pretty good. But yeah,
Well, the other women's one that we did talk about there briefly was Mboko. I like that one to be a straight sets win. That's minus 137. So
That's good.
That's one you could definitely parlay with Michelsen as well.
I like
It'd be a
that.
little lower.
Yeah.
So let's go with
Mboku
that.
straight sets. Yeah,
go with
we'll calculate that here in a second. I did want to look at the women's matches tomorrow, which are fascinating in their own right. Svitolina and Osaka. It's a different type of test for Naomi Osaka playing Elena Svitolina, who looked great, as I mentioned last night against Amanda Anisimova. She opens as a minus 159 favorite. Then Keys Tauson, just get ready for some great ball bashing in that one. This is going to be just blunt force trauma on the tennis court because these two are going to just crush it. Keys, again, same number, minus 159 on the favorite. Is there an underdog of these two, Dustin, that you like or you fancy a little more?
I mean, the underdog I like would be Osaka, but it's a lean. It's not like I love it. Now, the other one in the Keys Tauson match, you said ball striking. Hell yeah, there's going to be some ball striking. These girls can hit the crap out of the ball. These women can hit the crap out of the ball. I mean, they are grown women, and they hit it hard, and they serve well. I mean, I think this is a matchup where that over 21.5 looks real juicy to me. I like that, and I like Osaka. Those are my two.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong looking at it. Again, it's really just going to come down to where both of these matches are priced very fairly on Bet Rivers. I firmly agree. I just think these are upsets that could happen. Towson's playing very free. Keys has handled adversity great all year, but didn't look like she was playing the most consistent tennis, but she fought her way through it. I think Osaka is a lean too. It's just, you want to take the emotion out of it. It's great to see Naomi back. These are the matchups that have frustrated her in the past. Svitolina can just figure out how to out tennis her, if you understand what I'm saying. Like just play a little smarter and bait her into some errors.
No, I'm with you there. I mean, she's a veteran. I mean, Svitolina is what, 30-something, 30.
Yeah, she's 31 or 2. She's not.
Okay,
Yeah, she's not 31.
Maybe not that old, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, but has been around a long time.
She has been. I guess I think about Monfils and I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, she's up there.
She's 30. She'll be 31 next month.
Okay,
so,
all right, a little younger than I thought. But anyway, she is tricky. She's crafty. She's a veteran. She's been around the block. Like it's gonna be a great matchup. I mean, both these matches tomorrow will be, I think, excellent. The Madison Keys and Tauson. I think it's gonna be a 3-setter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it's gonna be a 3-setter. I do.
And right on cue, I was going to look at this match too. We got Zverev versus Popyrin's the other match tonight. It's the defending champ versus the number 1 seed, favorite left in this tournament. It's Alex Zverev minus 335 on the money line. Alexei Popyrin's plus 255. You see the game spread. You see the over/under. I think this is going to be a closer match than maybe people expect. I don't know if the upset happens, Dustin, but if your read on this is anywhere near mine, do you think Popyrin has a chance, and what's the betting angle that we should be looking at?
I think that if Popyrin has a chance, then it's going to be a tight match, and it's going to go over those 20. Is it 22.5 you had there? 22.5, I believe. Yeah. Which I think there could be a breaker, and you get a breaker in the first set, even if Popyrin loses that. I mean, there's a good chance it could be a 6-4 in the second set. And you could get that over without even him winning a set.
So looking at some of the and him to win a set, him to go over, I think those are plays that I like. Zverev, as you mentioned, a little fortunate in the Sarandolo matchup and maybe not as tested. And Popyrin, for whatever reason, I know it's a different city. He won in Montreal, now he's in Toronto, but he just likes playing here. And, he needed it, right? Like you said, under 500 on the season, he needed this result to get his season back on track.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, man. I like watching his game. I like watching him play. But I've also watched him play some smaller matches where he doesn't really seem to get up for the match. So, I don't know. If he's ready to go, and you said it, man, he's Mr. Canada. It sounds like he was really comfortable playing, north of the border from us, and he's played great. Zverev, though, he's going to be well rested for this matchup. And if he is playing, he's not playing Sarandolo in this matchup, so He's going to come into this. He got that out of the way. He's probably going to be free and relaxed. Like, doesn't have to worry about that anymore. And I could see him just cruising in this matchup. But if Popyrin, the defending champ, is going to play a tight match, I like it to go over.
Yeah, I think over is where I would lean in this one. Just given the fact that Popyrin could make things interesting and has this big game ability. Beat Djokovic at the U.S. Open, just can raise his level when you least expect it. So we have some, final thoughts here on the show before we wind this one down. Also, it's always a good time to remind everyone to check out the Betting Weekly Studios newsletter. I mean, it's just, you go to bettingweeklystudios.com. It drops on Monday. The BW Insider arrives on Friday. A lot of good insight for not just this great sport of tennis, but soccer, basketball, baseball. We got football coming up. It's just, we're early August, Dustin. So that's when I start to just wind up. U.S. Open tennis and so much in the sports world.
I cannot wait, man. We got, I was at the Hall of Fame game last week here in Canton. The NFL, starting their season. So like football is right around the corner. We still got all this great tennis. Like I'm so excited for what lies ahead the next 2-3 weeks with the end of this Canada tour, with Cincy starting on the 7th, which is this Thursday. So you got the finals coming up in Canada, and then it goes right into Cincy, followed by the U.S. Open. And by the way, partner, I got tickets to the finals in Cincy already booked, buddy.
Wow. Wait, and that's Monday, right? That'll be Monday final?
Yeah.
Monday final. Nice.
Cannot wait to see the new facilities.
It looks incredible. Yeah, we got qualifying happening, I think, very soon, and then you got the main draw coming up. We'll see what the draw looks like. Some of the top players entering that one. Yeah, and we actually did have a question in the chat. A lot of great comments in the chat. I think there's just a lot of stuff there, but I wanted to go back to this one if I can find it. It was looking back even further about not just Toronto, not just going into this weekend, but what we think maybe going into the U.S. Open. And if we any thoughts as I try to find it here, Dustin, on early U.S. Open?
On early futures for the U.S. Open?
From Dublin, there we go.
Did you do we got some odds? I mean, I got to pull.
There's always odds there's always major odds. You can always find them on Bet Rivers. That's a for sure thing. But looking at it and thinking, because Sinner's been in the driver's seat, the women's side though is very unpredictable. But right now, looking at the U.S. Open right now, Sinner's plus 104 on Bet Rivers, followed by Alcaraz plus 170, Djokovic 650, and then the drop off. On the women's side, Sabalenka 220. Iga 350, Coco, and Mira Andreeva. So I don't know.
I don't even know, man. Like
any early thoughts other than Sinner's plus money? Maybe grab him now.
The fact that Sinner is barely plus money, yeah. And I mean, it kind of sucks because Sinner and Alcaraz are so good. So I don't know that there's a ton of value on anybody else, because like you think about this, there's a good chance that Sinner or Alcaraz will be in the final. Mm-hmm. And there's a good chance they could be facing each other in the final, which at that point, why take the futures on those guys? Because they're going to be about even money for the actual match. Just the match itself, exactly. So, I mean, you want to get some juice on somebody, take Shelton, take Taylor Fritz, take a Jack Draper.
Yeah.
I mean, something like that, or even you want to go further down the line, maybe be looking at, like a Fonseca or something like that,
Maybe Menchik can get it together, make a run. Yeah, it's just tough. I mean, best of 5 tennis, it's just tough. Yeah, my advice would be, if you think Sinner's as sure as he's looked, get him now before it goes to minus, because it's just only going to trend that direction. Or just, as you said, wait till the final, see what ends up happening. So you're just a recap here, daily double. We got Michelsen to win on the money line, and we've got Mboko in straight sets. And by my calculation, that's about plus 383. So could be a nice little payout if you're playing that one.
A little cash today for you, ladies and gentlemen out there.
How do you think, Dustin? This is the last time I'll talk to you. How do you think this tournament ends up? Do you want to call your shot of who's going to be holding the hardware?
Sasha Zverev's going to hold the trophy for the men.
Wow. All right. Sasha Zverev, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
I want to say an American, so I'll say Taylor Fritz.
I would love to see an American. I don't see it. I'm sorry.
I'll say Taylor Fritz based on the draw. I wanted to go Shelton, but I do think that Demon match, although Demon struggles, as our producers brought up, in the top 10 is going to be a thing, but that's a lot to go through. I think Fritz, it shapes up nicely, and I think this is a great opportunity for Fritz to get his second Masters title. On the women's side, I want to go Mboko, but I don't know.
Well, I think Mboko has a chance, and we just talked about all the momentum and all those things that go along with that. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Madison Keys will hold the trophy.
All right. All right. I think the storylines are great, whoever wins, because you have Mboko. The women's side, it's like Mboko wins. It's her star-making moment. Rybakina, it's like, well, look who's back. Keys, it's just another great feather in the cap of this year. Maybe Naomi Osaka, right? First tournament, new coach. And
You
that'd
hit
be
on
something.
it. There are storylines literally with every one of those players.
Yeah. Well, I can't
all
wait.
good
You know,
stuff.
when we come back on the show next week, next Monday, I mean, Betting Weekly Tennis resumes Tuesday, Wednesday, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But when we're back on Monday, it'll be Cincinnati through and through. So
Oh, yeah.
we'll have a lot going on there. It'll be tennis in the great state of Ohio. So everybody be on the lookout for that. But again, you can watch Betting Weekly Tennis 1 o'clock Eastern, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all part of the outstanding Bet Rivers Network. And because we win socials, just remember, subscribe to the X account, Instagram and YouTube. YouTube, we're over like 10,000 subscribers. So you want to keep smashing that button and sharing all the great content everybody on this network does. But Dustin Fox, this was a pleasure, as it always is. Always enjoyed the tennis talk with
Likewise.
you. And we'll be doing it again next week. So thanks for coming on the show.
Sounds good. See you, partner.
All right, Betting Weekly Tennis Live. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Make sure you're tuning in and seeing what happens in the tennis up north. The Canadian Open rages on. For Dustin Fox, I'm Mitch Michals. This was Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Same time tomorrow. We'll see you. Enjoy the tennis.